Hello, and welcome to another week of the Abusecartoons live stream. So I was looking on the channel, on the YouTube channel, and I guess the 25th of last September was the first time I did this. So, oof, we're coming up on a year, and that may mean we're coming up on the end. I'm not sure how long this is going to go on. So if you're enjoying it or interested in it, please let me know, and otherwise I'll just have a year archive of this nonsense, and we'll see if anybody finds it. But yeah, my main motivation for doing this was it's a good motivator, you know, to keep my cartoon schedule up. But I've got more free time recently, so maybe that's not going to be such a problem. So we will see. Yeah, just exactly how much needs to be done. So what did I do here? Okay. So I need to reopen this. So we'll see. So thank you for watching, and if you've been a regular viewer, thank you for kind of keeping up with all of this, and yeah, so just let me know what would work as far as a future. Yeah, I'm still kind of deciding how long to keep doing this, or kind of, you know, changing the format or whatever else. I'm still streaming, you know, I'll still be doing other streaming with the Idle Red Hands podcasts, and probably painting, miniature painting and things. So there'll be some other things going on, but I'm just not sure. I was never quite sure if this worked, and I don't know if the cartoon was the kind of creation process was that interesting, and so I was always a little unsure, you know, how this worked as a live stream, because I don't watch a lot of live streams. I don't watch a lot of people kind of creatively do stuff. I guess I listen to some people talk about movies or pop culture, but or gaming, you know, like RPGs and things, but that's about it. So I don't know the future, and if you'd like to help me decide, please leave me a comment or get in touch on Twitter or the website. But all right, so we'll just kind of warm up here. Not quite sure. I've got the I changed the nib on the Wacom pen to the felt pen, because I liked how it gave you a little bit of drag and a little bit of texture, because originally I was doing this with Sharpie on paper, so it recreated that a little bit better because it grabs the surface a little bit. But I'm not sure. It's a little noisy though too. You kind of hear the friction. So I don't know if I'm going to stick with it or not, but at least for now. No, the microphone is sensitive enough that I guess you probably are hearing that, so it gives it a more real world feel. But yeah, so no big topic. I guess I just wanted to just kind of ponder the future of this live stream, and what I'm doing and what I'm getting out of it, and if it's actually that useful, because kind of everything that I've done with this cartoon, I haven't had a good gauge of how it's getting out there, or who's following it, and who's reading, and all of those things. So I'm constantly surprised that it does develop a little bit of an audience and a little bit of a following, but I'm thinking things like live streaming just aren't a good fit for it. So that was my that's been kind of my motivation to reconsider. And there's no, there's not going to be an easy way to monetize this, because the schedule that I'm doing is so odd. The schedule that I am available, or that I've been streaming, and I guess that can change if I can find a time that makes more sense. But yeah, because like a Sunday morning here would be good timing. It would be a Saturday night in North America, so something like that may help. I don't know why I'm drawing a toaster. So we'll see. We'll see how this continues. But that's always part of the problem. It's part of the problem with anybody doing anything in Japan is you're on such an odd, different schedule. We're 16 hours ahead of like New York, or East Coast time. So it's a little odd. And then the popular kind of media delay and stuff, unless it's a Sony movie, or I think no, Disney's got a big delay too. So yeah, they kind of stagger their releases. And I've also noticed, just by paying more attention to things because of the other podcast, that Japan is really low on the priority list, or really low on the release schedule, at least time-wise. I mean, some minor Southeast Asian countries and places like that get releases of movies much earlier than Japan, and I'm not sure if it's because they need to have a dubbed version, and they have kind of this limited, obviously if you watch any of it, this limited group of people that are dubbing TV and films, because you hear the same voices again and again and again. So maybe there is just a delay to the localization, causes a delay, which is a shame, because maybe they want a higher quality dub, and then that means that people are waiting longer. So Japan is kind of really at a step, kind of pop culture wise. And it's funny, things like Minecraft got popular and just started becoming something people stream in Japan just like a few years ago, which is funny because it's really old. I mean, I guess it's still a thing, but it's really old school for so many people. I think there's people that have already kind of grown out of it, and it wasn't even in Japan at that time. But the funny thing about that is, especially game-wise, when a game comes to Japan and gets popular, the books, the kind of guidebooks and things that are written for it, there's exhaustive, kind of tearing apart and analyzing of the game. So there's these huge phone book type game guides, and they're not just like playthrough, kind of walkthrough stuff. They're just like breaking down everything that you can do and where everything is located, everything that happens in games. So it's pretty funny. You can dig pretty deep, and they're usually really well produced. The production quality is really nice. But yeah, so I'm not sure if there is, if streaming is a thing that's going to ever work, very well for me from Japan. So I may have to just try to find another way to do it. And I don't know, I mean, or maybe other platforms. I haven't experimented very much with other platforms, and there may be more creative friendly places, because I know Twitch it's just games and nonsense, and I don't think it's ever going to fit well, or I'm ever going to fit well with what's going on. And it's just hard because I'm doing things, wanting to do a creative stream, but not interested in watching creative streams. I don't know. So it's hard for me to kind of figure out best practices in a lot of cases, because it's not anything that's that interesting to me. And that's also why I wasn't sure as far as like conversation, like what a good topic is. So I was just trying to talk creatively, trying to talk about creative topics, and I don't know if if people watching, if that's very interesting, if it would just be more stream of consciousness, pop culture, politics, whatever would be more interesting to people. Because you find yourself, especially sitting and working with software, you find yourself giving software tips and keyboard shortcuts and things, and I don't know. I don't think that's interesting to many people. So I don't know. I'm still figuring things out, and it's been a year, so if things haven't started to click yet, I guess it's time to kind of reevaluate and figure out if I could be doing something different or better with this. And pre-recording too may be a thing, because that'll give me an ability to edit and create a tighter more kind of polished product and presentation, so something like that may work. I don't know, because there's not, I mean, there's not a lot of variety to what I'm doing. So each week is, every day is kind of the same. So if you've seen one stream, maybe if you've seen them all, I'm not sure if that's part of the problem as well, is I should kind of be changing things up a little bit. That, you know, was part of the motivation for the convenience store, you know, segment. Hey, everything's on the same layer. I was thinking, you know, kind of switching things for a few minutes in the middle would kind of break up the monotony. But I don't know. I mean, because, you know, for me, streaming is something I would put on in the background and not pay a heck of a lot of attention to. But when someone is drawing it, yeah, I don't know. You kind of want to watch a little bit more. But I guess it's just as easy to go in and out with that as well. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I still don't know a good approach for doing this. And yeah, my motivation for it was, I think, pretty straightforward, but we'll see. Oh, I keep doing we'll see where this goes. Yeah, because there may be other things to do while I'm producing. Is this cartoon that might be more interesting online? I don't know. But we'll find out. Yeah, so that's kind of what's been on my mind, is the future of this stream, and if I should watch it. And part of my frustration is, you know, I'm not really getting anywhere on Skype. I'm not, you know, building any followers, and I think I've got like maybe 50 on YouTube for this channel. And when I'm posting things, especially when I'm using the restreaming, so I can post to both platforms at the same time, any notifications or any social media or anything are just, you know, crushed by the Facebook algorithm. So it literally will say 0 people reached, you know, with this post. Like, okay, so what exactly? Yeah, it's ridiculous. They're obviously. Yeah, I guess I need to be, I don't know, you know, talking like a crazy person or writing something, or I guess maybe posting pictures and things to accompany the you know, notifications. I guess if it's detecting it's just a notification for the live stream happening, then they're like, yeah, we're not going to be that advertiser. We're not going to, you know, advertise that or promote that for you, which that's kind of the whole reason I would even have a Facebook page for this cartoon. But yeah, whatever. Everyone is, you know, kind of angling for their own best interests, and who knows what that is on Facebook. I guess it's you know, supporting unpleasant political speech or whatever they're doing. But yeah, so that gets frustrating when you're just like, you know, everything internet-wise ever since the very beginning of dealing with the internet is a very unpleasant, you know, maintaining a website and waiting for your server to get hacked or somebody to get, you know, through in your website and destroy the front page of it, or, you know, put some script that forwards you to online gambling or whatever, or just waiting. You know, this whole cat and mouse thing of technology and the internet is so unpleasant. And, you know, that just becomes what you have to do in a lot of cases to, you know, to exist. So you're, you know, constantly modifying things for your search engine placement, and that keeps changing. And yeah, it's just nonsense. And it's a lot of unpleasant, not creative, not anything kind of stuff. I mean, you know, you're just reacting to some, you know, stupid adjustment that a company makes, you know, based on whatever results they're trying to get. And they're, you know, kind of shooting in the dark as well. They're just like looking at numbers and say, what happens if we do this? It's really annoying. Really, really annoying. It's something a little more squat. I don't know. And actually, I think, let's try. I think you literally have that configuration for holes. If I remember my 70s ceramic salt and pepper shakers, I haven't seen salt and pepper shakers in a long time. Yeah, the biggest. I guess there is salt here, but it's not. Yeah, you use like sea salt or whatever as seasoning for fried food, but it's not ever a shaker. You know, you don't see shakers very much, and in restaurants you almost never have shakers. It's always little pots with a little scoop in it. Yeah, so for all the variety of spices and seasonings and things. Not a lot of shakers, which is funny. Oh, all right. Wow. What's going on here? Yeah, but that's just the kind of situation, and just trying to figure out, the place and the reason or kind of motivation for doing the live stream, apart from just like, having kind of making an appointment for myself to produce the cartoon. I don't know. Oh, and so, now I will try to get Emmy back because of our technical disaster of last time. I was just trying to, since she had just recently come from a trade show, I thought, or a con, I thought it would be good timing to talk about that, and she just had that fresh experience of having a table and getting attention and kind of doing all the kind of business side of figuring out how much you're going to produce and what you need to present yourself at the show. So yeah, and of course, because it was the first time that I had used, it was Discord that we used. I think you probably obviously saw that in the stream. It was Discord that we used to do the audio, and I couldn't figure out how to get it into my streaming software other than desktop audio, and yeah, so I had that turned off. So just like now, I'm talking to myself, except with really long pauses where I'm like, okay, yeah, so it's ridiculous. So we will try that again sometime with an interesting art-related topic. And I've had another idea for more of a podcast. I guess it wouldn't be a live stream, because I kind of want to, in as much as you can with the internet, I kind of wanted to do a more anonymous podcast where you're not, promoting yourself. I mean, maybe there'll be a Twitter or a website or something to archive the podcast, but it's conversations with people about difficult topics that, so nobody's using their name and really kind of referencing. I mean, I guess they're going to have to, their gender or, their pronoun or their age, or those things may come up. So it'll be a little bit identifying, but kind of anonymous conversations about just difficult topics, because I think it would be nice to hear open discussion about things, kind of political, social issues, where people can speak honestly, because they're not worried about, getting banned on Twitter or having, being doxxed or attacked or whatever, which always, if it's going to be on the internet at all, there always will be that risk, because people, see that as a challenge, I think, if you're trying to remain outside of the ugliness. But I thought that would be interesting. So covering, topics like, divorce or, gender identification, or, just kind of the, race topics and things that are, difficult. You can't talk about them openly, and they'll be attacked very easily from both sides, depending on where you come down. But just, an actual conversation where people express themselves and, start off with their opinion and their point of view, and maybe get informed by the other person. And that would be so nice. I mean, that would just be so comforting and so nice to hear, I think, in this world of people just repeating these, little catchphrases and their little beliefs that they've memorized from their whatever, whatever source they get their political views from, and to just have a less contentious, less combative, just an exploration of kind of where people are at and how people are thinking. So I was thinking about, getting a big range of ages and types of people, and just have them as guests and just kind of confront them with a question or a topic, and just, kind of go on from there. So I thought that might be interesting as a podcast, because just a two-person discussion about, kind of painful things. I mean, I think it could get emotional as far as, certain topics may be very difficult to talk about. And I think that would be interesting. I think that would be something new to hear, because I don't think recently there's not a lot of honesty in what people, I mean, maybe they think they're being honest, but yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of self-deception and a lot of hidden agenda in what people say, and the character that they're playing online. And doing something like that, wouldn't be too time consuming or expensive to do. It would just be like, monthly or so, just, sitting down and having these conversations, recording and editing them, and then releasing them. So there wouldn't be a huge, kind of need for it to make money, for it to, generate revenue, because it wouldn't be a very exhausting project, but it might be very satisfying. It might be very interesting. I don't know. But, of course, my situation here, I would just have mostly access to expats and Japanese. But the variety of people, I think, would be interesting in Japan, because it is such a strange international mix. So that might be good. But at the same time, I do kind of have a limited situation. And I think people kind of line up politically very similar here. I think people living outside of their home country are very similar types, for better or for worse. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I can even get that to get off the ground. But, I'm kind of, going against or defeating the point of a podcast. You get people on a podcast because they want to promote something, and so they'll be funny and charming and entertaining, and then tell you about their book or tell you about their, live appearance or whatever. So I may be kind of defeating the point, but I've always kind of had that idea, because I even had this, idea to do anonymous comics, to kind of go to step away from what happened, I guess, with Image Comics and things, and like, how comics in the 90s were going, where a lot of people were buying artists' work and writers' work because their names were on things, and, people developed reputations and styles and things that other people followed. But that idea of kind of stepping backwards and just producing stories and things with no credits. So I don't know. I don't know why that's appealing to me, but there's something fun about that idea of being able to work outside of your usual genre or your usual style or whatever, and not be worried about fan reaction or whatever. But there is no anonymity anymore, so I don't know if it's even, it's not even possible, and it may be just kind of silly to even try, because once somebody, sees that as a challenge, then they're going to try to dox everybody that, would do a podcast like that. So I don't know. You never know what's going to get under people's skin and make you a target. And it's most of the time just bad luck, I think. Wrong place, wrong time. You were found in the wrong situation, and somebody brought you to their forum or their message board or whatever to say, let's get them. Yeah, just oof. A lot of that lovely thinking. Yeah, I might have mentioned this before, but sorry, when I was at CalArts, my interactive media professor, was just kind of asking me what I thought, because I was already working. I was already, working on the internet ever since before graduate school. I was doing websites and things for realtors and universities and stuff. And he was asking me, what I thought about, what the future of this is and online communication and stuff. And I was naively optimistic, and, was really thinking, how could it go wrong? How could it be bad? How can people not, benefit from each other's opinions and being exposed to other people's cultures and ideas and their, kind of biases and points of view and things. And I understand so little about human beings, and I get, naive. I'm saying naive because of my age at the time, but also just maybe giving people way too big a benefit of the doubt, because you can see with the internet that how people are still so tribal and just can't wait to divide themselves into groups and then go out hunting the other group into extinction. It's bizarre. And so I don't know. I'm sure there's people, anthropologists and sociologists and stuff, that have already really thought this through and have, analyzed this in a lot of ways. But people benefit from isolation and, having a limited scale of their world. And the bigger the world gets and the more they know about, the more fearful and the more angry and the more racist and sexist and everything they become when they see how things are done in other parts of the world. So yeah, I think that's just the unfortunate animal part of us that, continues to ruin things. So I don't know. I was bizarrely optimistic about the future of online, and he just kind of laughed at that because it was a very unsophisticated opinion. And I forget, some other horrible classmate was super negative, and I was surprised by that. But I hadn't, up until that time, we're still talking about dial-up internet, the dial-up internet age. I think maybe ISDN and possibly DSL had just started. I hadn't, there wasn't a lot of experience with people just, harassing and attacking each other online to such a huge extent. It was, just much smaller communities, and something. So that's the thing that's so odd and so dangerous. Thinking about the scale of Twitter. I mean, Twitter is everything and everyone, and that's why it's just this constant war. It's just groups of people. I mean, you literally can't put two words together that won't offend somebody, or somebody won't come down on you for, what's your problem. And being nice is not, it's not noticeable, or it's not, I don't know, it's very strange. It's very odd how people just love to attack each other, and with the strength or the reinforcement, the encouragement of a group. Yeah, it's really ugly when people target different things and different opinions and different people online, and it's just ugliness, just very mob mentality. So odd that that exists, or that's the reaction. I would never have guessed that, because I had a silly, naive, young opinion of how people are. Of course, travel broadens the mind, so I wouldn't virtual travel. No, it doesn't. It just, it doesn't at all. Yeah, very odd. I don't know where I'm going with this drawing, this cartoon. But yeah, so that's that. Just kind of going on. Mm. About things. Yeah, I wonder if yeah, like doing an outline or doing notes or something, having a more structured discussion would make something interesting to listen to. But then I can't draw. I think things need to be very stream of consciousness, very, off the top of my head, or because if I'm focusing on something or referring to something, then I'm not going to be able to draw at the same time. So yeah, I'm kind of stuck between talking about what I'm doing, during the drawing process, or having a very unstructured, very rambling conversation, one-sided conversation on the live stream. So yeah, I don't know. I think talking too much about what I'm doing is not that interesting, because the odds are you're probably not going to be looking all the time at what I'm doing. If you even put this on, it's going to be just some background noise. And yeah, I don't know. I think too, I draw very simply, and the technique is very simple that I'm using, and I would need a bit more of a wow factor, which I'm sure is, if I would go and look at the creative streams on Twitch and stuff, I'm sure that's what it is. It's cool metallic effects and, sexy posing and whatever of characters. That's very wow, for people to watch that process. And there's no wow. There's zero wow in what I'm doing. Yeah, so I think it's just the final product that anybody's interested in. So that's why I'm thinking about quitting the streaming. It's because, yeah, it's not a very stream friendly cartoon, and I think it's just kind of the communication of the final product and the effect of the final product that anybody would be interested in, not how did he draw that really off perspective, lopsided thing. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna make anybody a regular viewer. Yeah, great. So yeah, I will kind of, over the next couple of weeks, kind of mull this, wow, and yeah, figure out what exactly I want to do about the live stream. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, because I just spend too much time dreading it, or because I'm trying to think of something to talk about, or I'm trying to think of some, for when I expanded things and added that little bit of convenience store nonsense, I then stress about that and coming up with something interesting. And yeah, because it's so hard for me to think with a foreign, what's interesting, what would be interesting or not, what would seem exotic or foreign or whatever to people now, because everything is just too familiar here, and it's the way that things are. So I don't have an eye for that anymore. So that makes it hard. What was this? Oh, these weird little things that we don't need. So yeah, but I will find something, maybe just an actual conversation might be better. So we'll see. All right. So, okay. Sorry, I don't mean to swallow on the microphone. After drinking, that sounds wonderful, I'm sure. Okay, so we had a little setting on a table. That works. But I have no idea where this is going. Yeah, plastic wrap, or I guess aluminum foil, although that would be a nightmare for me to actually make look like aluminum foil with my limited rendering that I do. Huh. Yeah, so I have no idea, and I'm open to anybody's suggestion or opinion about what they like or don't like about this, and if that doesn't happen, then there will be a year's worth of this somewhere online. So like 52 weeks of streaming. I guess maybe I missed. I mean, we've had so many like, like natural disasters and things. I must have missed a couple of weeks here and there. But so some odd around 50 weeks of this will exist somewhere. And I'll figure out. And it just may be less short, something shorter form, maybe more interesting. Because I originally was thinking about just recording my drawing of it and then playing it back quickly, as kind of a time drawing, whatever that's called, speed drawing. Accelerate the speed of the drawing and not talk about the drawing itself. Just use that as the image or the visual for a discussion about something. But that I didn't end up doing it that way. It seemed like double the work. So live streaming and then recording that stream seemed to make more sense, but we'll see if that had any appeal to people at all. Oh. Yeah. And I guess that's the other thing too, is and on the live stream I've always been afraid of silence, so I've just been talking to fill the dead air most of the time, unless I run out of energy, and then I just make some noise. But yeah, so I'm wondering if that's all that necessary. So just don't have a real good idea for a style or a technique. I would think that if you put this on in the background and it's too quiet, it's too many periods of silence that you think it's over or whatever. If you want something as background noise, then I would think you'd want to be constantly talking. But it's quantity over quality, obviously. Yeah, I don't have any idea for what I'm doing here, so I guess I'll just keep doing it. Oh yeah, I guess kind of a leftover thing might be good. Not a plate, maybe a bowl is better. Yeah, maybe leftovers. If I can draw a bowl, might work. What's going on here? I'm selecting everything. Oh, it's still saving. So, yeah, we'll see. Yeah, because even if if the stream was just a way to keep in touch, just communicate with various creative people or whatever, that would be fun. But yeah, just schedule-wise, it was too hard, especially connecting with people in the US to have them talk on the stream. Too difficult. So I never did it, or didn't do much of it. And I was also thinking about, getting people in live, but I barely can be here at a time where some people may possibly be watching, outside of Japan. And everybody else inside Japan is at work right now. I mean, I'm at work too, but it's it's a little bit difficult. So nobody watches this that I know here because they're in an office and they can't put this on, and so yeah, I don't know. But I don't know. I'm not that interested in kind of solving that problem, but we'll see. We'll see what works. Oh, what about this? Where is that guy? This guy. Hey. Yeah, I think I'll do something simple with this. Talking about leftovers. I'm here, and there we go. Yeah, still this line is horrible. What's going on? Now I gotta make it bigger. All right. Well, that'll work. Okay. Yes. Leftover joke. Literally a leftover joke. Oh boy. Okay, so let's color some of this and see where it goes. Yeah, so we're still kind of in the midst of the typhoon season here, and it sounds like there's hurricane season aplenty right now in the US too. So let's talk about the weather. Yeah, so that may come up again before the end of this month. And it's funny here because, you know, typhoons and, or I guess hurricanes are so regional in the US. I don't think there are any Pacific Coast, West Coast typhoons, but they're so regional in like certain areas. You know, it's like, oh, why would you live there if you've got this threat of hurricane, and you see the people in Florida or whatever coastal areas, you know, putting the plywood over their windows and stuff, anticipating the big storms. And so I didn't grow up in an area like that, so that was never part of the culture. And you know, you don't prepare so much for tornadoes and things. So living in the flat Midwest, that was the kind of the only thing that would have been equivalent. And yeah, so it was very strange to be here in Japan and have to deal with the all of those things, the the alarms and the threat of these storms. And part of the reason that it's strange is because they're not so predictable in the Japan is only about the size of California, or like fits inside of California, so it's small but not that small. So you know, things happen in some areas that don't happen in other areas, sort of thing. And so you get this report, a huge storm is coming, here it comes, and it turned and it, veered off, and it literally can just miss the island sometimes when we're kind of bracing for something. But like this last one, I forget, I don't pay attention so much to the names of them here because they're so silly. It hit, and it caused some pretty serious damage, especially with the air. Whoa, don't do that. Especially with the airports. So we've had a shutdown of the main the Kansai area, western side of Japan's airport. And yeah, that's crazy because there was a large fuel tanker kind of ship. It was empty, fortunately, at the time, but it was just anchored with a kind of maybe minimal crew in the area where the bridge that connects the artificial island to Japan for the airport. And I guess they had brought the jet fuel or whatever, but the storm was so heavy and so severe that it pushed them into the only bridge that's that connection. And so half of that bridge was damaged, and that is the bridge for both trains and cars. So yeah, people got stranded at the airport, and the only thing they could do is take them by boat, I think, to Kobe, and that was like 100 people at a time. So pretty crazy. But those sorts of things, they happen, but it's very random because they know when these things are coming and they're anticipating them, and okay, get ready and evacuate and do this, and nothing. So it's a funny thing when it happens. It's always kind of surprising because you've always over-prepared for it, and when it happens, it's just kind of a surprise. Always. Maybe make that food a little brighter. I think dingy food is depressing. It's going to be delicious. Orange stuff. Hello. Really? Really? I thought I was going so bright. I guess not. Oh, that's why. Jeez. Wrong there. Wow. A little bit off today. Oh, my undo maybe is what took us into that odd. Okay. Oh, right, because I was just preparing to do some shadowing, some shading. And I thought I'd change the food color. All right. So let's do a little bit of this. And I guess the whole bowl can have a little shadow inside. So the crazy effect of that, though, the airport being shut down, is right now, especially Western Japan, is just inundated with tourists from all over Asia. So those people just kind of disappeared for a little while. And a lot of the businesses are panicking because, of course, they've put all of their eggs in the tourism basket, and to have a 80% drop in visitors because they literally can't get there is a little shocking for them. So that's been in the news. All of the famous places to eat and all that kind of stuff are suffering a bit now because of the loss of access for the tourists. But I'm really, I really hate this current trend of Japan being this tourist destination and all these nouveau riche Asians coming here, because Japan culturally, or at least, manners wise, just, cleanliness and politeness and everything is so different from most of Asia. So yeah, it changes the atmosphere on the trains and everywhere. All the visitors, and they're loud, dirty, noisy, and not dirty in some racial way, just physically dirty or shout. I mean, Japanese people bathe daily in things, and there's just a lot of, there's a lot of third world countries around Japan now we're now getting tourists from those countries, and fun. Yeah, it just changes things in an odd way, and especially Osaka loves their tourist money, so many things have adapted, especially drugstores with pharmacies that have all these like herbal supplements and stuff. The tourists go crazy for that kind of stuff. So that's what is being dealt with. So recently there's been a lot less of that, and I don't mind that at all, although I haven't had much of a chance to enjoy maybe this weekend. But the airport's supposed to be back up by this weekend, so we'll see. Yeah, it's a funny thing. It's a real kind of love-hate thing, I think, is dealing with all these tourists. Because they do basically, take over hotels and things, and now, okay, that's a tourist hotel, and nobody wants to use that. No, the domestic tourists and stuff just now avoid it. So those effects, not great. Yeah, it's very different. The Western tourists, coming to Japan, a lot of students and a lot of backpackers. Everyone's got a backpack and their hiking boots on, so they're real easy to spot and kind of distinctive. And the Asian tourists are all just families and couples. So very different style. And, so they want to go, they do still go to the shrines and temples and, parks and mountains and stuff, but not as much as the Western tourists love to. They come to Japan for the big nature, and it's just Asian nature for them. So, probably not that dissimilar from what they have at home, so it's not so amazing. I mean, definitely for Western people, Japan, Japanese, just the trees and the scale, the kind of volcanic nature of the geography, just the mountains, the shapes of the mountains and the hills and stuff, are so different from our home countries that I think a lot of Western tourists think that's very interesting and want to see the coastal areas and the very beautiful. And because things are smaller, it's easier to get to many of those things. You don't have to travel for as long. But it just costs a heck of a lot of money. But yeah, but the Eastern tourists, the Asian tourists, are more just traditional tourists, and they just want to eat the famous food and go to take their photo in front of the famous whatever sign. I don't know, advertisement. There's that bridge in Osaka that's all lit up, kind of like a Times Square-y kind of thing. But a lot of the brands and stuff, it's very historical. They're not it's not all the newest thing, and I don't even know if it's actually the advertisements are anything but decoration now, if they even function as actual advertisements for those products, because they some of the kind of older, more historic stuff. But yeah, I don't know. And it's funny, it's just like American tourists traveling traveling wherever, and then going to McDonald's. There's a lot of Asian tourists that go to the quickie fast food kind of Asian food places. They make the quick kind of Chinese stir fry type stuff, which is really funny. So you go all that way you go all the way to a foreign country, but it's just familiarity. And I guess the stress of traveling and stuff, you want familiar. You want something familiar. You want something it's going to taste good, or fit your taste, and no surprises, and that's easy to order. So that's exactly why tourists go to McDonald's. Western tourists go to McDonald's in foreign countries, and wow, they've got wine on the menu. You can get beer here. That's the culture shock for them. So, but the same thing happens, with the Asian tourists here. They go for the familiar. Yeah, so it's a funny thing. Oh, yeah, I did these and I didn't do the eyes on the other one. How are we doing size-wise? Not that big. Not that small. All right. A little big on the eyes, but I think my lines are thicker and things. Maybe for humor's sake, every napkin. All right. And I think this guy is a sad little coffee mug. Okay. And now do some eyes, and we'll come back and write something later. There we go. All right, so we finished coloring, and all we have left is writing. So you know what that means. All right, convenience store. We are in the Japanese convenience store part. Wait, let me shift my. Look this way. Okay, there we go. I'm going to center myself a little bit more. All right, so it's a quick, kind of easy one today, but again, one of those wow, you see it everywhere, and it's a kind of gets to be a kind of a cliche, and of course, it could always change, or it may have changed, but still, it can't have changed that much because I found it. I was able to find it. So I hold in my hands a very Japanese thing. So this is Kewpie mayonnaise, and so mayonnaise is a real popular condiment. You know, basically with French fries, you have ketchup or mayonnaise here, and so maybe they stole that from Northern Europe, but they love their mayonnaise here. And so Kewpie mayonnaise has the little Kewpie doll focus, the little Kewpie doll icon, and I have a little funny story about Kewpie. But you know, Kewpie was like a character, like the early 20th century newspaper cartoons, maybe, or magazines. A woman, female illustrator, did these kind of Kewpie characters that became popular, and then they became ceramic dolls, or maybe not ceramic, but that, you know, kind of Hummel type thing. So they were collectible and very cute, and they're cute little babies with a little, you know, curl and funny little poses and stuff, but very angelic and very, you know, ornery. But kind of cherubic, yeah, kind of like little cherubs, but more, yeah, more cartoony, more. Okay, so this little thing, so usually this comes in a, you know, you have a squeezed bottle of mayonnaise and a squeezed bottle of ketchup, and you probably know that size. But this is a 50 gram, so almost nothing, 50 gram amount of this. And oh, there's no notch like usual, so the noise will be great of me trying to open this. So this is Kewpie mayonnaise, and Kewpie mayonnaise is from the maybe 20s in Japan. And you may notice, color-wise, it's a bit more yellow. And that's because Japanese mayonnaise does not use egg whites. So American mayonnaise is much whiter because they use the whole egg, so there's a lot of egg white in there. And they also use rice vinegar as opposed to white vinegar. And they say a little MSG in here to give a little kick to the flavor, because it's got pretty strong flavor. And so this is the infamous purse size version. So I didn't get this on an airplane. I didn't have to. This isn't like the liquor bottle size, the airline bottle size version of mayonnaise. This is available at convenience stores, and this is a purse size version because you want your mayonnaise wherever you go. You know, you never want to, because a lot of restaurants do not serve mayonnaise for French fries and things, so you may be stuck without. And if you can't make it without mayonnaise, then this is your option, and you have this on you at all times. So yeah, just like a yeah, just the portable travel size version, like the little shampoo and conditioner you get. This is the mayonnaise version of that, but this is just to never be without mayonnaise. And so yeah, so the Japanese mayonnaise is much stronger, and it's all egg yolk, yeah, whipped egg yolk. And Japanese eggs are actually, the yolks of the eggs are much darker. I was surprised what a vivid dark orange the egg yolks are most of the time here, and so I guess that's why it translates into a darker, richer. And I'm sure there's some kind of filler or something. They use yeah, vegetable oil as well, so you know that'll thin out the color as well. But yeah, much darker and very kind of savory and rich flavor, I guess, because it's all egg yolk. But that means calorically it must be a lot higher than American mayonnaise as well, and sodium wise with all that MSG, yeah, who knows. But yeah, so this is very funny and still very much a thing, the purse version of mayonnaise. So it's more of a, you know, like a teenage girl, kind of like we were talking about the snack sticks from a few weeks back. This is a you know, female accessory, and I guess you're supposed to like mayonnaise. I don't know, but a funny thing that they do here too is so mayonnaise and ketchup are very common kind of cheap low-end condiments for fried foods here. And there's a special thing that they also do, which is also maybe kind of a girly thing because of the kind of color of it, how it comes out. But they make aurora sauce, aurora sauce. So I guess like aurora, like aurora borealis, where they take mayonnaise and ketchup and mix it up, and you get kind of a light pink. Yeah, so some shops will offer you, or you can even ask for aurora sauce, and they will make you pink sauce that is half mayonnaise, half ketchup. So you're almost all the way to Thousand Island dressing. But yeah, so that's a thing here too. So if you ever see that on a menu or someone ask for that aurora sauce, they are asking for ketchup and mayonnaise pre-mixed together. And you can of course always make your own if they have these on the table. But here it is. I have the actual proof of the pocket mayonnaise from Japan. So it's not an urban legend. It actually exists, and it's just for portability's sake. So you're never without mayonnaise if you are such a mayonnaise maniac. So anyhow, my little non-Japanese memory of that. So Kewpie again is this, Kewpie doll character. And if you notice the pose, so when I went to preschool in the Midwest, I was dropped off at this preschool, and I only went when my mother was visiting her parents. And it was kind of to give them a free day to shop or whatever, get me out of their hair. And so they would drop me off at this horrible preschool that I was like associated. I think it was like a religious, like Presbyterian or some religious preschool, because it was very odd and a very old building. It smelled really bad, and they always gave you cream corn at lunch, and it was horrifying. It was very traumatic for me as a young kid. But because it was a religious school, I thought everything that I was doing was kind of some kind of religious Sunday school type thing. And when they would pick me up, the restaurant, like right across the street, right in front of this big old smelly school, was Kewpie Burger. And Kewpie Burger, it looked like kind of a recycled, like they took just one of those standard, kind of flat top, kind of flared fast food restaurants and just changed it to a Kewpie Burger. It could have been like anything, a Pizza Hut or Burger Chef or whatever. I don't know what it was previously, but it's Kewpie Burger. And it had that little guy. It just had a little sign. It didn't say Kewpie Burger anywhere. It had a yellow roof and like a brown sign with this crucifixion posed Kewpie doll on the top of it. So I always associated Kewpie with some sort of religion. I thought it was like a kid's version of Christ or something. I don't know. It was so bizarre because of that odd pose. I think it's supposed to be a, hug me, pick me up baby pose, but the feet are together and it's such a perfect arms out pose that I have always, since very early childhood, associated Kewpie. And maybe I should look up the history of it, because maybe she was religious and maybe there was a religious motivation. But I always associated that with like some kind of kid's version of religion and thought that was some sort of religious icon. Because of my Kewpie Burger experience. And still, even after being taken to a fast food restaurant after preschool, it was still traumatic. But yeah, so that's my Kewpie association. And for some reason they licensed Kewpie back in the 20s, maybe because it was popular and very foreign looking, and maybe this is a foreign food, so that matched well, cute and foreign and whatever. So Kewpie, yeah. And I think this was of this company, which Kewpie company, I'm not sure the actual manufacturer. Now it's probably a big food conglomerate. But this was their original, Kewpie mayonnaise was their first product, their kind of flagship product at the time, and it still exists today. And I think it's pretty much in the exact form that it was back then. So kind of to Japanese taste, a more savory, like, dramatic flavored mayonnaise made from only egg yolk. So there you go, Kewpie mayonnaise in this pocket size, portable pocket size. So you will see this is a thing. And if you like mayonnaise, I think you would really like Japanese mayonnaise. It's very savory and really stands out and kind of accents the flavor of fried chicken and French fries and onion rings and things. It's good. But if you don't like mayonnaise, you will really hate this because it's like super mayonnaise. All right, so that's all for today. A small but meaningful Kewpie mayonnaise. All right, back to the writing portion. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so my idea for this guy, is kind of a religious quest thing. So the food left over in the bowl with food in it still, was seeking out the plastic wrap for it to bestow the title of leftovers on him. Yes, So I think I will still go with that idea because I think I like that. Two things kind of confronting each other and them having some weird drama that, you know, doesn't really exist. So writing that, getting that idea across of the leftovers as title. So he sought out the plastic wrap in order to gain the title of leftover. Gain the in order. Wow, typing is really bad today. I think my keyboard has. I think with my little model building, I've gotten a little too much glue inside some of these keys. Oh, it's too long. He sought out the plastic wrap. Oh, maybe it's not. Sought out the plastic wrap in order to gain the title. I wanted to use bestowed. To be bestowed. He sought out the plastic wrap in order to be granted he sought out the plastic wrap to be bestowed the title in order to he sought out the plastic wrap in order to be elevated to the rank of leftover. In order to achieve the rank, the designation. He sought out the plastic wrap in order to gain, ascend. Ascend to the rank of leftovers. Leftover something, yeah. So leftovers is more than one, so it's just one thing. So maybe leftover. To ascend to the rank of leftover. Let's see here. I guess that. So he sought out the plastic wrap in order to ascend to the rank of leftover. Yes, because we all have these ideas about what certain things mean, and obviously he thinks leftover. To be granted, yeah. In order to be, what is a rank you achieve? I thought you would achieve a rank you would, I like granted though, in order to be granted the, in order to be granted the designation, the, what's a higher, yeah, title. Let's see, we're going to get the title of esteemed title. Yes, I should probably exaggerate his opinion of this. The esteemed title of leftover. Okay, I think that works. He sought out the plastic wrap in order to be granted the esteemed title of leftover. It's all at the end. The funny part's at the end. Yeah, he sought out the plastic wrap in order to be granted the esteemed title of leftover. I think I'm using esteemed. I won't spell check on here. I think I'm using esteemed correctly, and I will check that off camera. Okay, so he sought out the plastic wrap in order to be granted the esteemed title of leftover. Okay. And this, I was just thinking about, what's missing from the table, and there's no creamer, there's no sugar or cream on the table. Yeah. It didn't look like he would. This isn't very clumsy. Didn't. Like he would be finding any milk or sugar anytime soon. Yes, so it didn't look like he would be finding any milk or sugar anytime soon. Any is not great. He didn't. It didn't. It didn't. The current state of the kitchen table meant he wouldn't be finding any. That's really, really long. Didn't look. See, here I go. Fussing with the image because I can't finalize the writing. Okay. Yeah, so I wonder if that's interesting for people to watch me kind of struggle, turning the idea. I don't know. I don't know what the interesting part of this is, if there is any. Yeah, but kind of struggling with getting that across, and the economy, kind of making your word choice matter, and something that I was reading about, finding your voice and finding your writing is like those gem words, those words that are kind of your unique word choice that really, that's what I've always, and fail with a lot of failure. That's what I've always kind of wanted to do with this, is have like really distinctive word combinations and wordplay that made this kind of unique. I don't know how often I hit that, but I often aspire to have a very distinctive and very interesting word use in the cartoons. But yeah, sometimes that means they don't maybe work as well as they could because of my odd word choice. He wouldn't be finding. Yeah, so I want to push that. Yeah, the table seemed to be devoid of any milk or sugar. This table. This table seemed to lack any of the milk or sugar he had been expecting. Yeah, I wonder if the entitled thing is funnier. This table seemed to lack any of the milk or sugar he had been expecting. He had been expecting. I wonder if spell check would catch that. Ban. This table seemed to be lacking. Maybe continuous is better. Seemed to be lacking any of the milk or sugar he had been expecting. This table seemed to be lacking any of the milk and sugar he'd been expecting. He was used to seeing. He desperately needed. This table seemed to be lacking any of the milk or sugar he desperately needed. So then putting him in the coffee in a more sad, desperate situation. Yeah, to make the coffee drinkable for somebody that doesn't like coffee. Any of the milk or sugar he desperately needed. That the dramatic thing is a little funnier. This table seemed to be lacking any of the milk or sugar he desperately needed. Okay. Sure. I like that a little bit better. Yeah. So there are the cartoons for this week. And the camera, I guess it's okay. The light was getting weird. I was kind of weirdly silhouetted, but I think because the light behind me is changing. Whoa. Oh, hey, we did it. Another week. So maybe only a few weeks left. We shall see. So hopefully maybe next week I can have another guest and we will talk about fandoms and how much that ruins everybody's life. Especially the artists. But all right. So, yeah, so this week, this table seemed to be lacking any of the milk or sugar he desperately needed, and he sought out the plastic wrap in order to be granted the esteemed title of Leftover. Okay, so last week was an off week. I was so staggered by the technical problems that I think I was really off my game, but a little bit better this week. So thank you for watching, and if you would like more of this cartoon, if you're just finding this now and say, hey, that's kind of not terrible, I would watch that, or I would, like to read some more of those. Please visit abusecartoons.com or gocomics.com if you would like it directly in your inbox, gocomics.com/domestic abuse, or follow me on Twitter at abusecartoons. And if you really love the cartoon and would love to support it, and become a patron, which I would love desperately, you can get autographed books like this first collection of the Best of the First 1,000, and things like original art, hand-colored, signed, wonderful original art of this cartoon. So check out the Patreon, and please tune in next week. I will be back at least next week, and we'll see how long we can keep this going. And if you're enjoying it, please get in touch, because I'd like some kind of confirmation or motivation that this is worth doing, because otherwise I can just sit and talk to myself without a camera. It works the same way. All right, and so I will see you next week. Thanks again. Goodbye.